you guys? My name is Samantha Huger. Welcome back to my channel. I think it was about a week and a half ago, if you haven't seen, I decided to open up a branding and marketing shop on Etsy where you can purchase logo templates, you can purchase Instagram highlight templates, you can purchase Lightroom presets from me. And so today I wanted to share with you guys how I edit my photos using my Lightroom presets. So a couple of days ago on my Facebook, I posted a photo edit challenge. I asked you guys to go ahead and share with me some of your best photos, your raw images, images that have not been edited yet, and I would use my presets and tweak them a little bit and show you guys how I would tweak the photos and just share with you your before and after so you can see the power that these Lightroom presets have. What are Lightroom presets? I've been getting asked this a lot because, and that's okay, I wouldn't have known what they are either. They are basically like a photo filter. It is how I edit my photos, and it's basically like you can copy my edits and how I edit my photos. I asked for 10 photos from you guys to go ahead and share how I would edit them. I am so excited to share this with you guys. I think this is going to be a really great video. And again, thank you so much for anybody who submitted your photos. It was really hard to choose just 10. So without further ado, let's start editing. So let's go ahead and get this started. All right, so here is our first photo. You guys, you submitted so many great photos. I'm so excited to share some of these with you guys, but it was really hard to decide which ones. I love this one. I love how the buildings are very well centered on here, and the subject is very well centered between the buildings. The first thing I would do for this one is to come in and crop this, and I'm just gonna make sure that the subject and the buildings are just a tad bit more centered. I'm gonna hit the check mark here. For this one, we're gonna scroll over to presets. When you purchase my presets, you'll get a video that'll show you exactly how to upload them to your phone. It's very, very simple, very easy. So I already have them all already uploaded to my phone. You're probably gonna see me using these bright white Instagram theme ones quite a bit because they are my favorites, and I just like the way they look. So for this one, I'm gonna choose the bright white Instagram theme 3. I feel like the lighting and everything on this one looks pretty good. I do feel like the highlights might be brightening up the photo just a little bit too much, and we're losing some of the detail up here on this tower. So I'm gonna bring down the highlights just a tad, and I'm gonna go over into color. And I've already played around with this photo a little bit, and this just gives this photo so much just when I do this, watch. So I'm gonna take the temperature, and I feel like this photo, it looks beautiful as white and very clean, but it just looks so much more like OMG when I bring up the temperature a little bit here, and we've just got this beautiful, rich color happening here. So yeah, I'm bringing up the temperature, and you can see the before and afters here, how just amazing this picture looks. I really honestly think this is the only edits that I would make to this photo. So there you have it. This is the before and afters for this photo. The next one I thought was so sweet and so beautiful. The photo was just a tad bit dark, so I want to brighten up this photo a little bit, bring in some more of the whites, lighten up a little bit of the shadows, and really just kind of bring in some saturation on these oranges that are happening. I just like how this photo doesn't have a whole lot of other colors going on besides the white and the orange. To me, that kind of photo just looks so pretty, and so I knew that this would look really great with my presets. So I'm gonna go in here over to the presets again and just choose which one I think looks best. I really like the way this bright white IG theme 1 looks. I'm gonna bring up some of the shadows just a tad bit, but I think this is gonna be the best one here. So I'm gonna go over to light, and there's still quite a bit of shadows going on in this photo, so I want to bring up the shadows a little bit more on this photo. Yes, there we go. I'm gonna whiten up the whites just a tad bit more and kind of play around with the blacks just a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna bring the shadows like almost all the way up. I might even, to bring out some more of these shadows, bump up the exposure just a tad bit. For the colors here, I feel like it's looking pretty good. I don't wanna I might turn down the temperature just a tad bit so it's not quite so, there's just a lot of orange happening in this photo. So when I turn down the temperature just a little bit, it kind of smooths that out just a bit. And let's see, I might come in here for the oranges and just bring down the luminance just a little bit so that it's not so bright. And that's really it. So here is your before and afters for this photo. Thank you so much for submitting this. This is just so precious, so sweet. All right, I love this photo of my friend Shannon. Shannon, thank you so much for submitting this. This is just so sweet. So what I'm gonna do first is come over here into the presets and just figure out which preset I think looks best with this photo. I'm really liking how these Rosé and Slay ones look, and I'm gonna pick Rosé and Slay 1. So here's the before and here's the after. For this one, I don't want to lose too much of the saturation of the yellow of her vest here, so I'm going to go back into color and I'm going to go to mix and just bring up the saturation just a little bit of the yellows on her jacket. And I'm going to maybe bring down the saturation a little bit on his shirt because I don't want it to overpower. Maybe bring down the luminance a little bit so it's not so bright. Yeah, that's looking really good. And I'm gonna keep the saturation up on the oranges because I think that that just looks so nice. I might even bump them up a little bit higher than they were before. And we did lose a lot of the saturation on these greens and the trees, but honestly there wasn't a whole lot of saturation to begin with, so I'm gonna keep that saturation on those just like that. And I might go into the temperature and play around with the temperature on this photo just a little bit, maybe just warm it up just a tad, like just a tad. I don't like it too cool, so just gonna warm it up just a tad, and then I'm gonna go into effects and maybe play around with the clarity and the detail here. So I'm gonna sharpen this photo a little bit. Yeah, I would say that's it right there. So there you have it for this photo. Here is your before and your after. So thank you again, Shannon, so much for submitting this photo. This is beautiful, I love it. So this next one here, I love this photo. I really like the way it looks. I just want to make this look a little bit more like a silhouette and just kind of bring out some more of those sunset colors. So the preset that I decided to use for this is actually going to be the Turquoise Tiger series, and I really like Turquoise Tiger 2 for this one. So there's not a whole lot that I would do to this photo other than I want this to look more like a silhouette. So what I'm gonna do is go over here into light, and I'm gonna go down to the shadows, and I'm just gonna bring down the shadows, or I mean, sorry, that's highlights. I did not mean to do that. Go down to shadows, and I'm just gonna bring the shadows down so that this photo looks more like a silhouette. So I'm bringing down the shadows. What I'm gonna do also is I see there's some really beautiful purples going on here. So I wanna make sure that those are really popping. So I'm gonna come into the purple and the fuchsia over here on the far right, and I'm just gonna bring up the shadow on the purple and the fuchsia. And then for the temperature, I'm just gonna go in and just turn, let's scroll out a little bit here. And for the temperature, I'm just gonna bring up the temperature on this just a little bit so it looks like kind of more like a summer sunset look. And that's all I would do to this photo. This photo is beautiful already. So here you have it, your before and after for this photo. This next one I am so excited for because I could just tell by looking at it that this photo is just gonna be so just with my presets. So the first thing I'm gonna do is come over here to my presets, and I already know which one I wanna use for this one, and that is the Bright White IG3. Bright White IG3. So I'm just gonna click on the check mark here, and I'm gonna crop this photo down just a little bit because I don't really love how there's this bottom part here and this greenery on the side. I just want this photo to just be our beautiful subject. So I'm going to just bring in the crop a little bit on this so that we're only seeing our subject. And actually I want her to be a little bit off center, so this is great. Something I would do for this one for the light is maybe bring down the exposure just a little bit and come over here into the shadows and bring up the shadows instead. I'm gonna bring down the highlights a little bit, and I'm definitely gonna wanna make these whites as white as possible. So one thing you can do is come in here on the whites. See how this is making the whites whiter? Ooh, it's so pretty with that. So yeah, I'm gonna come in here and make the whites whiter. And she's got these awesome tattoos, and I'm gonna come in and make the blacks a little bit blacker by bringing down the blacks, so we really get some good contrast here. Next I'm gonna go into the temperature, and I'm just gonna warm this up just a tad so that we're really getting this beautiful reds and oranges really popping from her hair and her beautiful skirt. And then maybe you could come in here and kind of tweak some of these saturations and things, because these have all been kind of turned down for the saturations on the blues and everything for this particular preset. So you might want to come in and just kind of bring back some of those blues in her skirt. But I still personally see how if I turn the yellow back up to the original place where the yellow was, this photo just looks really yellow and not so great. So what I like to do is just really bring down the saturation on the yellows, because I just think that that looks better. It makes the whites whiter and it just looks all around better. So I really think that's all I would do to this photo. So here you have it, your before and your after for this one. This is just beautiful. I am so excited for this one. All right, I am really excited for this one because I just think that the subject and the composition of this photo is really great, but I want to kind of bring in some more warmth to this photo. So for the preset I've chosen for this one, I want to go with the Bright White IG theme 2. I'm just gonna hit the check mark here. And I think this photo looks really great already. There is just a little bit too much highlight going on with this highlight at the top. So I'm gonna come into light and I'm gonna go to highlights and I'm gonna bring down the highlight a little bit. And as you can see, it's bringing in more of those structures up there at the top and kind of reducing the glow that you're getting from that highlight. Next, I'm gonna go into the temperature and I'm just gonna turn up the temperature. Just gonna turn it up a little bit here and just really get lots of this like beautiful warmth happening with this photo. And I'm gonna go into mix and I'm just gonna bring up the saturation on these oranges and keep the saturation on the yellows down a bit. And then I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna turn down the saturation on all the other colors because I just want this photo to just be really, really just beautiful, orangey and pink and red. All right, so there you have it for this photo. Here is your before and after, and I think this just looks amazing. I love this photo. I am so excited for this one. This is from one of my friends from high school, Megan Turner. Thank you so much, Megan, for submitting this photo. I just love this picture and I just feel like there's so much we could do to this one. So what I'm gonna do is go into presets. I'm just gonna choose the preset that I feel works best with this one. I can tell already that we're going to be doing quite a bit with the colors here. So what I'm gonna go with first is the Bright White IG theme 2. And I wanna bring back some of the saturation on these greens because we need those because there's so many trees in this photo. So what I'm gonna do is go into mix and I'm going to come into the greens and I'm just gonna bring the saturation bit back just a bit. Now I'm gonna go into the oranges and I really want to just hike up the saturation on these oranges but bring the hue back down to kind of a more orangey kind of hue. And I might even do that on these yellows too. Oh yes, there we go. So you guys know I don't love a lot of yellow in my photos, but what you can do is to bring the hue of the yellows to a more orangey tone and it just looks so like, oh, so good. I'm gonna bring down the saturation a little bit on the orange and bring up the saturation a little bit on the reds. Let's see. Yeah, I really think that that would be all I would do to this photo. I think this is beautiful. So there you have it. There is your before and after for this one. I think this one is just so pretty, such a great fall photo, and I really just love the way this one turned out. This one is just so sweet, and I know that the reds and the pinks with the white in this photo is just gonna look so good when I get done with it, and I just know that the composition of this photo will look really nice with my presets. So for this one, I'm gonna start off by going over to the presets, and I'm just gonna see which one I think looks best, and I think I already know which one I like. I think we're gonna go with the Bright White IG Theme 1 for this one. And honestly, I don't think that this photo really needs anything else. Here is your before, and here is your after with this one. That is just the sweetest thing. I love it. This one is great. Again, here's another really sweet one, and I know that these pinks will really pop when we use one of my presets here. So again, we're gonna start off with the presets, and we're just gonna go through and see kind of which one looks best. Again, I'm gonna choose one of the Bright White themes. I think I'm gonna go with Bright White Theme 2 for this one. You can see already that it's really whitened things up. It's added more contrast. I don't really think that there'd be anything else I would do to this photo other than maybe let's try going in and bringing up the exposure just a tad bit. Bringing down some of the highlights a little bit so we see more of the colors on her bib here, because it's kind of getting washed out. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that is all I would do for this photo. So there you have it. There is your before and your after. So this one is so sweet. Thank you so much for submitting this one. I absolutely love it. 1 quart, okay. So the next one is this really pretty like cattle scene, sunset scene. There's a lot going on here that I don't think that the photo quite captured, and this is a low light photo, so we are probably going to get some pixelation here, but I do want to see how this photo looks when we bring up some of the shadows on this and use one of my presets. So I'm just going to go in here and kind of see which preset I would like to use. And I think for this one, I'm going to use Turquoise Tiger 2. And what I'm gonna do is go over into light, and I'm going to bring up the saturation, or bring up the shadows a little bit here. So we're gonna see just a lot more of this photo when I do that. Can you see how much more of the photo we're gonna see? And I'll probably go in and kind of turn down the highlights so it kind of just shows more of the landscape. Let's see what happens when I bring up the exposure. Yeah, no, I don't wanna bring up the exposure. I think the exposure looks good right where it's at. I'm gonna blacken the blacks a little bit more, and I'll probably go into the color. I'm gonna go in and turn up the temperature a little bit on this one, because I just think that it'll look better with the temperature turned up a tad bit. Yeah, I think I might go into the clarity on this one and just turn up the clarity a little bit, because it is kind of giving us a little bit more of a contrast on her horse here, and it just looks so pretty. And I never ever use vignettes, but I think on this one I'm gonna use a tad bit of a vignette, so it's gonna kind of darken the outsides of this photo and really draw your eye in towards our subject. So here you have it. Those are my edits for this photo. Here is the before and the after. And that's it. Oh my gosh, you guys, that was so much fun. Thank you again to everybody. Oops. Thank you again to everybody who submitted a photo. I loved doing this little challenge with you guys. If you are interested in purchasing a preset, please visit the link below and visit my Influencer Aesthetic Etsy shop. I'm gonna have more presets coming to you guys soon, but the Bright White, Rose and Slay, and Turquoise Tiger are all we have right now, but they are fantastic presets, so I hope you enjoy them. I hope this helps you to have a better understanding on how you can edit your photos to make them pop even more. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you hit that subscribe button below. If you haven't already, hit the bell button so you get a notification anytime I post a video. Go ahead and do that. I greatly appreciate it. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you very soon. Mwah. Bye.